Let's do this. Hello and welcome to the Chef Salty Pork Podcast with your hosts Casey and Sean. We're your weekly home for culinary news, insights, text, musings, and everything in between.
That's right. You can also catch us recording and streaming on YouTube at Chef Salty Pork Podcast. Please like, comment, and subscribe to get up-to-date notifications of when we are broadcasting live, like right now.
We are live, like as in we can see each other. I need to like reiterate this because I think a lot of folks don't understand. Like Sean and I are on a Zoom, not a Zoom call. This is technically whatever. We are on. We are on the camera
for all intents and purposes. This is a Zoom call.
As a Zoom call. You can see our faces. You can see my actual apartment behind, which is a mess right now.
I feel like I'm there. I haven't been there in a while, but I feel like
I know, right? It's been a minute. Sean got some. Can you see this on the camera? Can you sort of?
Yes.
Sort of.
From my vantage point, it looks like you have some cookie dough on your arm. What is going on?
Can I put that a little closer?
I see. Yeah.
So, I was
scars.
No, I was playing with ice with an ice pick. That's where we're going. So it slipped and it just casually went into my forearm.
Wow. You casually ice picked yourself.
Just because I was like, I don't know. I think I was like trying to hold it this way, and I'm like trying to. I don't know what I'm thinking, Sean. Okay,
yeah,
I'm
just trying to. I'm looking at like the
Can you,
the puncture
like
wound
this?
And like how you would have been holding it with the other arm.
Yeah, well, because I had to brace it onto something. I couldn't brace it this way. Well, I guess I could have. Well, whatever. This was comfortable, so I was doing this, right? And it slipped and it dinged me. Right, it didn't go too deep. It was like maybe.
I feel like I have to ask you this every couple of months, and I know you probably can't tell me, but maybe you could blink if you're in a fight club. Casually ice picking yourself. All right.
I mean,
okay.
Just a nice pick.
So, I got a lot of love for you, so I'm gonna let. we're just gonna have to learn to live with that. But
got it.
Yeah, man.
I definitely
make sure you stretch next time you're ice picking.
I don't condone violence. However, sometimes the tools that we use. First of all, it's hot, like in the kitchen. Can I tell you this too, Sean? So the kitchen, as you know, actually, I don't think I've mentioned it here at the show before. It's particularly small. So I want to say like a 10 by 8 with all equipments in it. You barely have like one line of getting to and fro to where the stove is, to where the cell table is. It's very minimal space. I don't like the word very, but I had to use it there because it is literally like just a small aisle. You get into the stove, that's where the ovens are, that's where I'm usually at. And then the cell window is in front of the physical, like where the tickets are. Okay. And that's where we put the plates down, that's where we set up. Like it's I don't know. There's also 5 people in the kitchen. That kitchen can only maximum get like 2 people in there. You know what I'm saying?
How many ice picks are on the line at any given point in time?
It was my ice pick, Sean.
I'm just trying to understand.
Actually, it wasn't really an ice pick. It was an oyster knife.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. So I mean, do that information as you will, but I needed an ice pick. My oyster knife was the closest thing to it, so I used an oyster knife
to glance off of a piece of ice.
Yeah, well, because I had to like sculpture. Like, needless to say, It was a whole endeavor.
Yes,
it was an entertaining 5 minutes, and they were like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "It's fine. I just went in like, I don't know, a couple inches. It's cool. Nothing damaged. Okay, I can feel everything. Look, everything's working, right? I bandaged it. I even have a little slurry at the station, like a salt and lemon slurry. I don't suggest this to anybody to do this if you get hurt. But if I get like a little nick or something, I'll literally pick up that slurry and just go like that. It's habit. It will hurt for like the next 2 minutes, but then you're fine. But I guess in my head, that's insanity.
Little
Not
Fight
that
Club triage. You're not convincing me, man.
I'm like airing it out. I'm like, oh, I'm fine. It's cool. It's
Yeah.
whatever. Sean, I got a haircut.
Oh yeah,
As you can
man.
tell,
Okay, I see you. I see you.
I got a haircut. Sorry about last week. I was a little busy.
Nah, it's all good, man.
Only because so the way I'm still trying to get a grasp of it. So I'm trying to explain to you how that specific restaurant works. We're open Wednesday to Sunday, right?
Yeah.
We're definitely off Monday, Tuesday. Like
Sure.
it's closed. Nobody's there. Everybody has a definitive 2 days off.
And to reconfirm, the chef owner is not there now.
Correct. So chef
Okay.
currently had an out procedure on his knee. They had to clean. I forget what Caitlin told me, but it's like an actual procedure. They take like a telescope thing with a blade on it that injects into your knee. They look around. They clean up stuff. He had like bones
That
in there.
arthroscopic surgery, man.
There you go. That's what it is. And just to clean it up and everything. He was thinking he'd be back in about 10 days. Doc said, multiply that by 4 weeks. It's literally four. It's going to take you 4 weeks. So this is technically the fourth week-ish,
Okay.
right? We've seen him back and forth. He's feeling a little better. He's moving around, but he cannot do the twisting motions. So if he were to work
Oh.
back with us, literally it's just side to side, front to back. Like that is always he can do, which is fine. Like we will, when I say we, it's me and Ben, me and the other chef. We will take care of most of the brunt work. But like I said, he's feeling much better. He's fine. We see him. It's just his knee that's taking his toll. He's also 68. The
Yeah.
dude's been
Sure.
at it for like 50 years. It's insane.
And
But yeah.
especially in this industry, you're going to be on your feet all of the time. So
All the
yeah,
time.
I'm sure he's 68 but got 88-year-old knees, from
Yeah.
from doing all that work. Yeah.
He said he started when he was 21.
Hmm.
So when he was 21, he was an engineer actually, Sean. It was
Okay.
this is crazy little thing. So he went to school for engineering. He did the whole engineering thing for 6 years. At 21, he kind of dabbled into the cooking thing, and then at 26, he was like, "Nah, not for me," and he went fully into culinary. So technically, 26. He's been at it 40 years. It's
Yeah.
incredible person. And then I have some updates for you a little later, but not too crazy. So I'm trying to get a grasp of the restaurant. I'm off Monday, Tuesday. I'm acting as head chef because that's technically what I applied for, to relieve him, not really of his duties, but to support him as a second person, right?
Sure.
And the way the ordering goes is we will get a big order on Wednesday. Literally
Okay.
everybody comes in.
Sure.
And then in between orders, obviously a produce order every night, a fish order every night, Sean,
Oh, okay. I respect that.
right? I don't remember if you ever used, did we ever use Madison, or did you guys ever use Madison Seafoods
No,
at the
we
other
use
location?
Trinity.
Just Trinity, right? It was just
Yeah.
Trinity. I mentioned to him too, like,
Shout
can
out
we
to
use Trinity? Shout out to Trinity. Both New Jersey companies, buddy. Madison Seafoods based in Newark, Trinity Seafoods based in Asbury, a little bit further down. But they both deliver no matter where you are in the greater New Jersey area. He was like, I like Madison. Their quality better. I was like, okay, not a big deal. Sure. So we use Madison fish every night if need be. And then like little off pieces, I have to go to the store physically to pick them up. So a little bit more out of my day, and I was trying to get a sense of how I can program my day around. But I average, like 10 hours a day. That's not too bad, And then definitely 2 days off. So I'm a happy camper, like all throughout. So
How would you compare Trinity to Madison's fare?
I think so. Oh, did you know that there's a shortage of crab meat right now? Like
Yes.
crazy shortage, right? I just tried to order today 10 pounds, which is a can of crab meat, and they out of stock. Like no crab meat, like at all. And so I called him. I was like, "Hey, Madison don't have it. You want me to call my contact Trinity?" They're like, "Go for it. See if they have it. If not, call Dairyland, which is our other provider that we use here."
Okay.
I'll call Trinity. Trinity don't have it. I was like, "What is going on with this?" So I recalled Dairyland, which is our provider. They just happened to say we have a short amount of it. I was like, "However much you have, let me get all of them." So I practically bought 10 pounds worth of crab meat. But Sean, their crab meat now is $47 a can. A
That's
can.
ridiculous.
That is expensive. If you can remember, our crab meat when we were in our restaurant was $22
Right.
a pound, and that was like, oh, that's expensive, bro. It's 100 times more, or 100% more now, especially with COVID. But I don't know what's happening. There's a shortage. I haven't really looked into any news lately, but that is what's happening in the restaurant. So technically, I'm still definitely available Monday, Tuesday, but it still depends because I'm still running to and fro at the restaurant. Sort of. Like, obviously, you don't want to keep running through, but as acting head chef, it's a lot more responsibility on my end. But yeah, man, not too crazy. I wanted to get into this topic I mentioned to you earlier, how to create your own flavors in your journey as a chef. But before we do get into that, though, Sean, how was your week? I haven't seen
My
you in a
week was good. Yeah, man.
Yeah?
We didn't get a chance to speak to each other last week, and while I definitely understand that you were busy last week, I was kind of glad to have last week off. And that was
Yeah?
only because there was the NBA Finals. So
Yes,
yeah,
it was.
the Bucks and the Suns, and it was an epic game. For all of those who don't already know, I am a huge basketball fan, and despite the fact that the teams that I normally root for had either got eliminated. Well, yeah, they all got eliminated early from the playoffs. And this year in particular was a season fraught with a lot of injuries from a compressed season and a lot of COVID-related absences from teams. So, like, a lot of teams this year just did not have all of their guys available. But nonetheless, like, when it all came down to it, it was a really, really exciting NBA Finals, and we got to see a new champion.
Yeah, man.
It's good for the NBA to kind of have new blood at the top of the ranks. I am looking forward to next season, and hopefully a less COVID impacted world, but that obviously that still stands to be seen. Yeah.
Did they ever win a championship
The
from like
Bucks.
history? I don't
Not in
think so,
our
right?
not in our lifetime. The last time the Bucks won was 1972.
No, but there is a history of them winning at least
Yes,
one time.
yeah.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. Way back when the Bucks had some of the greatest NBA players of all time, Oscar Robertson and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and even since then they've had like quality players. They just haven't been able to put together a championship contender. So shout out to Sidney Moncrief and Ray Allen and Vin Baker. Shout out to Michael Redd. Shout out to Brandon Jennings. We're trying to think of other notable Bucks. Shout out to Monte Ellis for those who know, who made the Bucks entertaining to watch, despite the fact that they weren't not necessarily like a championship contending team. But
Yeah.
this year the Bucks are on top. We'll see what next year
Yep.
has to bring. And then
I
kind of
was just,
following up on that basketball energy, the Olympics are going around, and Team USA is not looking as dominant as it has in years past. So, I'm still looking forward to watching as much professional level basketball as available until the start of next season. So
They're down
yeah.
2 right now, correct? Is that
So they just started playing the actual games. Like they had exhibition games, and as of Sunday, they lost their first seeding game. So they
Oh
really
wow.
need to not lose any more games, otherwise they're going to be out of medal contention very quickly. And yeah, it's very very apparent that the NBA, or rather not the NBA, but rather, well, yeah, the NBA, but
The NBA.
as an extension of the NBA, basketball is a global game, and the organizational advantages that the United States once enjoyed are just not there. And yeah, man, they're balling everywhere. So it's a lot of good national talent. Team Nigeria is looking really good. The
Yeah, France
Spanish
is
team
always awesome.
is generally a
Spanish team's always
contender.
great.
Australia's got a good team. Lithuania's got a team to look out for. So again, just like with the Milwaukee Bucks, it'll be really interesting to see, who's gonna kind of take the crown or get the medals. And I'm still rooting for Team USA, but I also wouldn't be surprised if they get walked right up out of there.
You know what it is because, in my opinion, no matter what kind of team you're in, if you're not gelling, it's not gonna work. It's not
Yeah,
a,
yeah. Oh, for
it's
sure.
not an
I mean,
eye. You know,
generally,
it's a team thing.
like the U.S. team is just comprised of like the best players on the planet, and they literally just show up, roll the balls out, and have their way. But other national team programs, are designed where they have some continuity of the teams, tournament to tournament. A lot of these teams or guys are playing with their national clubs and in their national league, so they're a lot more familiar. And typically, like the other nations are not building their offense around athleticism, but more like I don't say like a more team friendly dynamic that's based on an offensive system that you can kind of plug and play players into. And yeah, it looks like at this point, at least with the team that the United States is rolling out, like the sheer athletic advantage is not going to be enough. So we'll see. We will
We'll
see.
see. I'm definitely looking forward because I recorded most of them. Well, not most of them, but I recorded primarily the volleyball exhibitions. Oh, such a fan. And then the table tennis. I am, at one point in my life, I really wanted to be a table tennis player. Sean, I was addicted to it. I had paddles. I was pro, bro, before I came over.
What do
And
you
I
think
thought I
is
was
easier to wield, a table tennis paddle or an ice pick?
definitely a table tennis paddle and an
Okay.
ice pick. I mean, it wasn't an ice pick to begin. I think it'd be easier if I had an ice pick. Literally, just like
Yeah, I mean, considering what you were trying to do, yes, an ice pick would have been the tool for the job.
but like, who carries an ice pick? I'm not an ice sculptor, so we didn't really have one. I was like, oh, I have an oyster knife. Close enough. Let's go for it.
And your forearm was like close enough.
Imagine if it wasn't there. Like if that would have like gone through like my shoulder or some junk. That would.
You know what, man? We would have had another week off.
By the way, just got it right there in the carotid. That would suck. Like oh my goodness. Anyway, Sean, this is not really a tricky topic, but like, how does one create their flavor as the journey of becoming a chef? Like, take a stab at this for me. Like, in my opinion, for me, because I primarily revolved around Asian cooking, I wanted to turn Asian dishes to be a lot more accessible. Because, like, if you think about it, our cuisine is so out there. Like, we have a dish made with pig's blood in Filipino cuisine, literally stewed pig's blood. We call it dinuguan, literally pig's blood stewed as porridge, and we eat that. We also eat a lot of offal pieces. Offal is like the hearts, the liver, the intestines. That's normal cuisine for literally 80% of the world, and we are predominantly at the forefront of that as Asians. And also, fun fact: do you remember that show Fear Factor?
Yeah.
You remember this? All like 80% of their cuisine was Filipino food. Like it was that's how they got all their ideas from. And also the infamous balut egg that everybody tried to like, oh my god, it's a duck. I was salivating when I first saw it. I was like, oh my god, it has to be the easiest food challenge I've ever seen. But for me, to make my cuisine more accessible, that's how I develop my flavors per se. How do you think? What does that mean to you?
Well, I think you're absolutely right there. I think when you're thinking about developing your particular flavors, I think you kind of have to kind of start with the baseline of the palate that's informed by where you live, right? Like you're gonna have cultural touchstones that you're gonna be basing your decisions upon. You're gonna look at like your available food sources to kind of inform where you're gonna go from, and then as you grow in that space, or rather as you grow in in understanding of techniques, you can kind of branch out and look to other places and other cultures to draw inspiration from. When you posed the question to me earlier, like how do you create your own flavors, to me it's like writing your own story, right? Like
Okay.
you kind of build upon an alphabet that, or I'm gonna think of like Roman characters, but like yeah, like build upon an alphabet, and then from there build your words, and then use those words to form the concepts that are gonna tell your story. And that's exactly how developing flavors or flavor profiles as a chef works. I mean, you need to have a good understanding of your ingredients, your resources, a handle on techniques, so that like you can experiment and refine. And then, you got to have a good understanding of the marketplace if you're looking to sell these things, so that like you can further hone in on whatever your niche is going to be. And then go from there. And then I would say the last step, depending on where you want to go, is like, incorporating some of the feedback you get from, the people that are eating your food, or the, the customers for your food. And using
Interesting.
that to kind of, go in one direction or another.
Now, let's take it all. I don't want to say break it down. Like, for example, like let's say a brand new cook out of school, or a brand new somebody that wants to learn how to cook. Now, I'm basing this in the greater New Jersey area because I'm in New Jersey.
Okay.
New York is literally just a plethora of everything, but specifically New Jersey, and I just found this out the other day. 70% of restaurants are Italian restaurants. Did you know this?
I
Like
didn't know
literally,
that, but it doesn't surprise me.
like literally,
It,
it's just
yeah, it doesn't
it's all
surprise me.
Italian. Yeah, pizzerias, Italian joints. No matter what restaurant it is, there's gonna be two or three more Italian restaurants in the New Jersey area. New York, it doesn't matter. It's like all hordes bar. Everyone's everywhere. It's so great. That's why it's such a good place to kind of hone your palate. But how does one from New Jersey, let's say this, define what their cooking style should be after after if they got to school, or having only tasted that one palate? How do you think that they can go about acquiring that flavor, as we say?
Again, I think there's no better way to do it than to kind of, explore, or in the region around you. So, for that aspiring chef from New Jersey who feels like, the only thing that they have access to is an Italian based fare, I would say put some money on your Easy Pass, fire up that New Jersey Transit, and head into the
Head
city
over.
and start to explore. Like, that's what you need to do. And again, especially when you have all of the outlets that exist, here in New York City. Like, I think it's your due diligence to kind of go out and kind of think about and experience like different foods, and start to ask the questions from there. Like, what is this? How is it accomplished? What is it made from? What am I trying to accomplish? Where is my budget? Like, where can I go from this? Right? Like, maybe you could take some techniques that you're learning specifically from Asian cuisine and apply it to your Italian fare, if that's where you want to take it. Or you could understand that, like, hey, this marketplace is missing this. How can I take this and recreate it, or add my own flair, and present it to people, or that have a similar expectation, or understanding of food that you did. Again, shout out to New York and all of the different places you can go, but I think Jollibee exists as a prime example of that, right? Like, it's just like,
Yeah.
like it fits a niche. You want like Filipino fast food, right? Like, here
Jollibee.
you go, right? Like, here you go. It's going to cater to someone and prove itself in the marketplace, right? Like, I think if you're an aspiring chef, like, you need to experience as much as you can, and kind of let that inform or reconfirm your understanding of the foods that you want to produce.
Oh, it's in Woodside. So I just actually pulled up. Hold on, so give me a sec. So for everybody that doesn't know, Jollibee is a Filipino institution. It's our McDonald's, essentially. There is one right here. It said Woodside.
Yeah, it's like Queens.
It's like Queens-ish, right?
Yeah, at one point I thought they were gonna open one in Midtown, but I wonder if those plans got scuttled for with concerns to COVID.
Hold on. No, it's right here. There's another one. Where is this one? Yeah.
Okay.
There is one.
Okay. All right. Oh, good. I was like, I
Right
know
there.
that there was like one.
So it's right on. Is that 40? Right on 40th.
So
Right
yeah, man,
there. Wow.
Go check out Jollibee.
But look at this. Like, just doing an overview of New York City, bro. Like, look at this.
Yeah.
There's so many.
All of these different restaurants existing with all sorts of different price points, and just embarking in having an experience is going to open your eyes up to all these other different possibilities.
I think I can say that I think the most growth I've ever had was when Caitlin and I did our trip across the U.S. because we literally stopped by like some great spots along the way, and I think just experiencing that different cuisine, like I don't think I've ever had better barbecue than in Texas. Like, we've been around, in my opinion at least, Texas and Austin specifically. It was amazing. So the restaurant is La Barbecue. It's the people from Franklin's made their own thing. I think that's what the story is. That's the barbecue we had. That's what I aspire what a barbecue is. And then, you keep moving down south, keep going across. And it's just, I've grown so much just eating food. I didn't even cook it, just ate it. I got to experience the culture and how it's supposed to taste like in their hands. and I think it just made my profiles a little better. I was like, oh, I think I went to this joint in Texas one place. I think we can smoke it the same way. Can we try that in my ramen next time or something? And
Yeah.
that's kind
And th-
of
and that's exactly what I'm saying. It's like, you move around, you experience, you ask questions, you start to source ingredients, and you try to understand, like, if you were going to do something similar, like how could you pull it off? Or some ingredients just regional? Like, how do you make that work? How do you begin to substitute if you need to, or if or even if you can, you know?
yeah. I mean, so currently at the restaurant, I put in 4 dishes so far into our menu. Asian inspired, obviously, but with a French twist. That's like
Okay.
because obviously we're a
So
French
so
inspired
so
restaurant.
pearl onions and no scallions.
Exactly. So you understand it. But things like such. So, for example, like that duck dish that I was talking to you, I think I've sent you a photo of it or a video of it. But on the bottom is what I call Mediterranean rice. So I pulled this out of Kaylin's actual heritage. So they make this Lebanese rice ish, maybe Turkish ish. So it's basmati rice that's not really toasted, but it's stewed in butter and also pasta, like angel hair pasta, that's
Okay.
browned in the
Yeah.
butter. And then you take your rice, you brown it a little bit too, and then you add all your fixings and then cumin seeds to let it bloom. And that's like your rice. Bro, I'm telling you right now, I was just like, why haven't I made this before? I know I had it in my brain, but stuff like that. And just basmati rice. And then gets a little duck confit on top of it with duck breast that's sauteed also, and all tossed in duck fat because might as well. We use the duck, passion fruit gelée, passion fruit vin, and passion fruit relish on top of it for this duck dish that we serve currently at the restaurant. So a lot of the passion fruits, obviously, me, that's the Asian part of it, but with a collaborative effort and some of my background, that's how we came up with it. And pearl onions, no scallions, but we did put cilantro on it.
Okay.
So for me, that was a win because chef doesn't really like using fresh herbs for some reason. He's more of a purist. It's like,
Okay.
let the dish speak for. I get it. I like herbs more. So that again, we have to compromise on how everyone's flavors are attuned. And the second part to this is once you do develop your flavors, Sean, for me, I go 10 or 1. There's no middle for me.
All right.
So
Explain.
okay, so if I make my ramen,
Mm-hmm.
if I say spicy ramen, bro, that's gonna be a 9.5, 10. It's gonna be spicy. It's gonna kick your ass. It's gonna make me feel like I sweat. That's how I like my spice, and that's how I want my ramen to feel. If I presented that same dish to chef right now, he'd be like, okay, maybe the chilies needs to be like a level 2
Right.
instead of a 10.
I was just going to ask you because I think, like, I understand that you're saying, like, this is what works for you, but it's like, does this work for your market, right? Like,
Correct.
yeah, like maybe the most authentic thing would be to present it at a 10, but because you're not necessarily in that environment, maybe a 2 or a 3 is for the best, and you can, I don't know, you can bridge the gap with time, right? Like you inform your your customers, and get them comfortable, and then present them another option, like, hey, this is
Correct.
here, but we also have this secret mix
Yeah.
over here.
Exactly. I blame that on the white folks. Their palate isn't as great, and we all know this. It's just, I don't know. They tend to, American palate tend to more be in the middle. Can't be too much of one thing. Can't be too low. They like the middle ground. Asians literally, it's again 10 and 1, right? It's either really subtle 1 or really flavorful 10. Flavorful to the point where it's almost too salty, but it's not. Like that's That's how the differentiates here. And then everybody else kind of falls in between those two, the barriers. But for at least for the restaurant that I'm working in right now, I need to compromise on how the flavors are. So when I cook my dish, I'm like, just to let you know, this is how I would eat it. This is not how we're gonna present it, but just taste it. That way you understand the flavors, and I would taste his. We compare. It's a really nice, like work, like collaboration actually. Like if you think about it, you know. And he taught me how to do some more subtle things with the flavors instead of just going balls to the wall like 20 things. He's like, maybe try 11 things instead of 20. But I'm like, but we could do 21.
Well, all I can definitely tell you is like, between the 11 and the 20, you need to have 11 of the right things. And
Correct.
Yeah, I can definitely tell you a little anecdote as to why pearl onions were top of mind. So the other day, my wife was like, "Oh man, I could really go for some coca vin," and I'm like,
"Oh,
okay, all right, let me do that, right?" And I know I'm going to my little market to kind of source all this stuff, and they don't have pearl onions, and I'm like, well, okay, this is not going to be exactly the same. Like I'm gonna get close, but it's not gonna be 100%. But like even that too is just like, from knowing and experiencing, and really understanding what your individual ingredients are going to bring to a given dish, and why, like, someone would, a recipe would call for a pearl onion, that is, boiled ever so slightly just to, release some oils, and, it's going to be different than using like a common Spanish or white onion in the same way, but
now I'm curious, did you actually buy rabbit or did you use chicken?
No, I look, man, my local store got rabbit, bro. This was
Why not, bro?
a very last minute dinner decision. Like, I'm about to go start something else, and it's like, coca vin, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, we're gonna do this with chicken, and I'm gonna run to the store real quick.
Wouldn't it be dope though if you went to like a bodega, all of a sudden they had like literally hair? You're like, oh my god,
they're just like, oh yeah,
this is what I'm going for,
right? But yeah, not to say that
awesome.
one couldn't source that here in the city. So obviously it could happen, but my local Key Food did not have any.
Oh my god, Key Foods.
Yeah,
wow.
shout out to Key Food. Shout out to Seatown. If you know, you know. And Aldi,
it's been a while.
Still waiting for my check.
Oh, Sean, I forgot to tell you. So I went to so Chef likes these flatbreads. Okay, so he specifically goes to Stop and Shop to get them. I forget what exactly they're called, but they're in a blue plastic bag. They're Mediterranean style flatbreads. They're really soft and like a perfect 11-inch. But anyway, needless the case, he says he only finds it there. So I was at my local Aldi after working out. I was just kind of walking around because I usually get the Powerade from there. It's like $1.10. It's ridiculous. I don't know how they stay afloat, but Aldi, sure,
they stay
whatever.
afloat by not sending us our checks.
So I go in, I see the bread, and I'm like, wait, but it's spelled wrong, Sean. It's like the original packaging is spelled with a T, and I think it's in Turkish. I think the packaging, but this one is spelled with a D, and it's the same color. Literally, it's like a bootleg version of it.
Sure. But
for $3 less. So the current one is like, I think we buy it at like $6.50. This one is like $3.29 or something.
Okay.
I texted Chef the picture. He was like, "Where are you?" I'm like, "I'm at Aldi." He's like, "Yeah, don't ever buy from Aldi." It's like, don't ever. If you ever use the company card on Aldi, I'll fire you myself. I thought it was funny. Oh my goodness. But Aldi, shout out to the Powerades though. That's what's up.
Shout out to the Powerades.
$1.27 at the Lodi location, right next to the Blink Gym that I go to every morning. But anyway, like I was trying to say, travel will be essential to your journey to create your flavors, but also to have the presence of mind, be like, hey, I think I need to try some more flavors to expand my palate. If you were So Sean, let's picture you college. You wanted to learn some, I don't know, some Indian cuisine or some junk. How much money do you think you would put aside for you to eat out a little bit and like, I don't know, like to make you enough so how what am I trying to say? For you to learn enough but not break the bank. Like put that in perspective in your college years. How would you go about that?
And I mean, I mean, I guess I guess I'd have to trim some of that video game budget. No, but I mean, the reality is like, look, if it's important to you, I think you can. Most, I won't say most folks, but some folks can move their resources around so they can, enjoy some experiences.
Got it. Okay. I thinking in my college years, I wasn't necessarily pressed for money, but I saved most of my dough for eating actually. So when I think I've told this story here a few times. I paid for my college in cash with a backpack from construction, and it was bloody and it was a whole thing. Fast forward, they called the cops and the deans came out. I'm like, I work construction. Literally, this is the cash that I
Right.
earned. But I've saved enough of it where I made sure I really wanted to taste new cuisines. That was my main thing. Like I want to be a chef. I'm here for the program, for the whatever little program that they have over there, and then to acquire taste buds that will let me reference eventually in my journey. I think that's how I did it. I think I ate a lot of Indian food actually in my college years.
And I want to say
Like a
maybe
lot of
maybe
Indian.
my perspective is a little different because like I grew up here in a city and everything is always available, right? So it's like
That is true.
it would not have come across as weird or foreign to walk into any restaurant and experience and try something, or come in contact with someone who could pull you in a different direction than you might normally have been going to kind of go and try something different as well. And I know that is not necessarily something that's available to everyone else. Because
Now, would you?
with New York being such a melting pot and metropolitan place.
I was about to say, like, do you think that would be if you were to live in a city, just general city, because there's more obviously opportunities to experience something. You think that would be essential to acquiring new flavors
I definitely,
in your journey?
I think, I definitely think it's essential. I mean, you got to take, like anything, if you're trying to get a better understanding, I mean, you got to make the most of your resources, make the effort and, go from there.
Okay. So, I mean, to surmise it, right? Travel is essential.
Yeah.
You really need to save some money and to experience experiences in different locations and correct environments that they're served in. Secondly, would be location, like as Sean was mentioning, to be in a city or a metropolitan area or something like that, where more opportunities are within walking distance. I mean, just that little photo of freaking Manhattan's like littered.
Yeah.
I mean, you literally go to any corner, there'll be a restaurant there no matter what. It's
Sure.
that's just how it is in New York City. Also, San Francisco, I believe, if you go around that way. Los Angeles is also the same way. I don't know about the Midwest. Maybe no, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Chicago. When I was in Chicago, they had pretty good spread of you know,
I haven't been to Chicago in a while. I think I've had
different options, and then and also again, not to specifically talk about like cities, but delve into the local fare of wherever you happen to be traveling in.
Mm-hmm.
Ask the questions, understand the history, like why were certain decisions made, like like how does food production in one area kind of inform the decisions and in the cuisine in a given space. Like those are important things to understand as well.
Mm-hmm. And then put those all together, and then eventually 20 years later you have a little something that you can call your own, maybe. I guess just depends on what you do. I mean, right now I've had this ramen recipe for 11 years. I'm still tweaking it. I don't think I will ever be fully satisfied. I'll just keep on tweaking this damn thing. But it's the journey for me that makes it quite interesting and quite pleasurable to keep on doing every year and be like, what can I do different? Maybe I can do this one. Are we really going to do that? Imagine like a barbecued brisket, like on top of a ramen. Like that would be just so bomb. Like just thinking about it right now.
It sounds delicious. And it sounds delicious despite the fact that I've never had it, because I've had brisket and because I've had ramen.
Nah, right?
Right? Like it's like that informs how I believe it would taste. And then, you layer your expertise on top of that, and we have a good meal.
And then you pull the Kentucky Fried Chicken kind of thing, like your chopsticks made out of drumsticks, the chicken drumsticks. Right? Weren't they the ones that did the chicken fries?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness. Sean, a Popeyes is opening right next to the hospital, but where Caitlin lives, Popeyes, bro. I told her, I was like, I'm expecting a fried chicken sandwich every night before you come home.
Well, don't have one every night. Otherwise, you will be in the hospital. You gotta pace yourself.
Oh my goodness. Some other things though, Sean, before we do go, I do want to share with you some, I don't want to say memes, but I do want to share with you some memes, before we do go. So in your screen, I forget exactly where this came from, but if everyone's watching right now, it's the two women arguing with the cat on the table, like that meme, right? The two women said, I told you it was 86th. The cat's like, I sold 4 of them.
That's real.
This is, isn't as real? Like, how many times have we told our servers, like, it's 86, literally it has a time slot on it? Like, well, at what point do you think I can't sell it to you? It was gone like 40 minutes ago. What do you want me to do? Like, I can't, I don't have it. Like, what is, another one here, Sean. This is a cool one. Employer. This is a tweet. Employer, if you're sick, don't come to work so you don't spread the germs. Employee, I'm sick. Employer, how sick?
Yeah, man, that was unfortunately too true in a pre-COVID world.
Oh my god. I think. I mean, what was our rule in our kitchen? I mean, you're never too hungover. Like you're showing up for work. Like I don't care. You're drunk, sure. Okay, cool. You're still showing up to work. That's not an excuse to send. However, this is for everybody listening. Okay, I will share with you some secrets. If you're in corporate standard, you're vomiting and you have diarrhea. Those are the two main things you need to say to your employer. And by law, they cannot have you in the building. I guess this is state of New Jersey. I know that's for real, but I don't know about New York or anybody. But diarrhea, vomiting, those are the two things you need to say if you want a day off. But obviously they can ask you need a doctor's note, and that's when you kind of get screwed. But diarrhea, vomiting, I don't know where I'm going at, Sean, but I just wanted to share with everybody how to get out of work. And then finally, this is, I forget what the show with Peter Griffin in it. Family Guy. Oh my God. It's been on. He goes, you know what really grinds my gears? Getting asked stupid questions during the busiest part of service. This is really funny to me. Sean, here's a story time for you. It was, I want to say Saturday. So we had 58 covers. Right, at the brunt of it, like at 7:30 is when our busiest.
You're peaking.
It was our peak. I had, I don't know, 14 tickets on my list. The server comes in. Hey, is there gluten in the soba noodles? Now we have this dish, the soba noodles. I was like, yeah, it does. She goes, isn't it made with buckwheat? I was like, typically it is, but this is a mix. It's 70% whole wheat, 30% buckwheat. So it's technically not 100% buckwheat. So thus it has gluten in it. And she looked at me like I was lying. I'm like, I'm not lying to you. Like, why would I lie to you if the person has an allergy or has celiac or something? And she was just like, no, you're wrong, bro. I literally had to walk out, grab the box, literally show it to her face. I was like, look right there, 70-30. Now go away. This is the first time I was a little mean, Sean, okay? When I say a little mean, I was a little snippy. I mean, it was busy. It was hot. You know, I was not feeling myself. And then she came in with a little attitude, so I gave her a little attitude back. I don't like that about myself, but just enough. Because it was a stupid question. Like, I'm giving you the correct answer. And then you're going to say no. And then in the same shift, literally 10 minutes later, another server asks Ben, who's the second chef, about his dish. He goes, hey, does this have coconut in it? Because they're allergic to tree nuts. And Ben and I goes, well, coconut is not a nut.
Right.
The guy goes, well, technically it comes from a tree and it's a nut. It's a tree nut.
I am like,
and we're both...
No.
We're both just like...
Again, you know, that's just a real opportunity to kind of, you know, train and just, you know, collect those questions. And again, I don't know, like, obviously your restaurant is not set up like the one we worked at. So I don't know if there's like this pool of time where like you can have this discourse with your servers. But maybe that might be something to address.
No, that wasn't. So we're just like, no, that's not how that works.
Right.
It's not a nut. It's a fruit more than anything. Just because it comes from a tree. Well, anyway, last one, Sean. I think you'd enjoy this. To combat the chicken wing shortage, we are all still on a chicken wing shortage. I forget what exact spot this is, but they're serving pork wings.
Yeah, I know.
Instead.
Like, what was it like? Wingstop moved to thighs.
Wingstop. This is Thigh Stop, so it's the same thing. So Wingstop, this is like their thing. I don't know why we have a national shortage of chickens right now. I don't know what's happening, but
okay. So this is one instance I was trying to understand, which is why. I guess maybe just the demand in general. I guess that the real answer is the demand for wings is significantly higher than thighs, just in general, right? Like. But on like the baseline level, I'm just like, are folks going out for thighs?
I have no idea.
Like, I mean, you just like you eat them differently.
I guess,
in the places in which like a bar situation, you know, you're gonna break out the like I guess right if you're there, but. You know,
I don't know.
The market will adapt, right? Like the market will adapt. But yeah, chicken wings are ridiculous right now. Like they are,
bro,
ridiculous. The price.
We were at H Mart earlier yesterday, and wings. I think a 2 pound thing of wings. Sean, it was $11.50.
Yeah,
$11.50. It was like 8 pieces of wings in there. I'm like, what is life?
Yeah.
What is going on? So, yeah, that is it. That's how you create your own flavors. Have a national chicken shortage. Keep eating up all the wings. And then eventually you'll create your own bomb-ass wing eventually. Just traveling to and fro. But I still don't know why we have a chicken shortage. But nonetheless, though, Sean, do you want to send him out with a positive or a negative?
Oh yeah,
What is
man.
your thing for today?
Yeah. So the other day, a cinema classic was released to theaters and homes across the world, and by
Okay.
this I am talking about Space Jam: A New Legacy. And again, like I mentioned at the top of the show, I am a very big basketball fan. It
Mhm.
is no secret that Michael Jordan and LeBron James are two of my favorite players of all time. So,
Mhm.
when HBO Max premieres Space Jam: A New Legacy, you know where I was Saturday morning at 8 a.m. right on the couch, ready to
Watching Space Jam.
live the Space Jam dream. And wow, sometimes you just can't go home again. Not to say the movie
That's
was bad, but I think it was nakedly apparent that that movie and maybe even the original Space Jam were designed as like a cross media, cross retail amalgamation of focus testing. Like I never felt it, even when like I've never felt like I watched a 2 hour commercial for anything.
that was a 2 hour commercial. Is that what
Oh
you're
yeah, it
saying?
was a two
Oh
hour
wow,
commercial for Nike and Warner Brothers and
wow.
you know LeBron James's I don't want to say his ego, but like it was yeah, like man man I don't say I
I
was
don't know.
disappointed because it was what it was, which was it's fundamentally a kids movie, but
Hmm.
man, like scene to scene, it's just like like as an adult, you're just like, oh, so that's what they're selling here. Okay, they're selling jerseys here. They're
Wow.
like, oh, okay, they're selling this here. Okay, all right, okay. There's just there were so many different like product placement references that just existed for the
Mm.
sake of just being ads, and yeah, then the movie ends, and then it ends.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it didn't hit the same as when the Monstars first came out. Is that what you're
No, it
telling me?
didn't. Like and spoilers aside, like it didn't. Like when Michael Jordan was taking on the Monstars, the fate of the universe was at stake. And
Mm.
yeah, no, like this movie was pretty much like LeBron James versus his parental duties versus a programmatic algorithm
Oh
designed to
wow.
yeah, like it was just man. But
Deep breath.
I will say that after enduring a 2 hour commercial, they did get me to open my phone and look at the Nike app to see how much one of those
Oh.
Goon Squad jerseys was.
Wow. So I guess it worked.
It did. It did. I didn't buy it, but they did get me to open up the app, which I wouldn't have done
Wow.
otherwise. So good on you,
Wow.
Nike.
Way to go.
Way
Way
to
to
go.
just sell. Way to just sell your soul to the devil.
Yeah, man. It's
Way
like
to
this
just.
movie just didn't need like it didn't need to exist. It didn't need to exist.
Mm,
Yeah,
well,
yeah. Sometimes you just can't go back. You can't go back home.
I mean, how are you gonna top R. Kelly's version of "I Believe You Can Fly"?
Yeah,
Let's just
yeah.
put it out
You
there.
can't. Like I
The
mean,
most classic
you
fucking song
you can't.
ever.
Again, like it's just we live in a different time. Like when Space Jam came out, like the internet was not structured in the way that things are now, and the mystique of Michael Jordan was that like despite the fact that he was one of the most popular athletes on the planet. There was just so much about the man that you didn't know, and some of that was by design, and some of that was, because the technology wasn't there and the access wasn't there. But again, like, I know what LeBron James, without it's like I can know what LeBron James is up to at any point in time because of like social media and the
Because of
ESPN
internet, yeah.
machine that's like constantly, providing you all of this insight and access. So when that's a world that we actually live in, when you're looking at a 2-hour movie that, it just, yeah, it was just a long commercial. There were some funny jokes. There were, I chuckled, but ultimately that movie did not need to exist. And yeah, I don't know. I don't see the opportunity for that movie to kind of live on in the hearts of today's kids in the same way that like the original Space Jam existed for for kids who were my age at that time.
No,
And definitely
I
because
completely
they were,
understand it.
there was a soundtrack to this movie, but yeah, nothing was as like stirring and reverential as R. Kelly's "I Believe I Could Fly."
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, I can still remember the music video. Like, it's
because you couldn't understand how Michael Jordan could fly, right? Like it's like, but now,
it was
but
just
now
so
I
good.
but now you understand, right? Like now you can see the work that it takes to develop your calf muscles and like you can see it. You can see LeBron James, working out in the off season, just toning his body and getting ready for the rigors of the NBA season. Like that's not a mystery. So it's just a different time.
So you're disappointed. I mean, I get it. I get it. I
mean,
would be too. So just looking at your face, I'm not gonna watch it.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
good.
I
So
mean,
thank you for sparing me the trouble because I was kind of interested in seeing it because I was
yeah,
such a big fan.
it's a
The original.
good looking movie. Like I would say if you can see clips of it, sure, but I would not say, hey, you need to commit yourself to 2 hours to see this film.
I'm good. Black Widow was great, by the way. We saw it. That was I felt good. So FYI, Black
Okay,
Widow with
all right.
a better
I will check out Black Widow.
a better 2 of your hours spent
Oh, for
watching
sure.
the
But you know
bootleg
what you can
Space
go
Jam.
back to? Or now I'm realizing this. You can go back to Saved by the Bell. That new show is hilarious.
You were telling me about it.
Yeah,
I'm
I
definitely
was
gonna look into it.
pleasantly surprised. So, to watch the Olympics, they are streaming on Peacock, but Peacock Premium because, everything's a channel that you need to pay extra for. But I
Of
figured,
course,
you
of
know
course.
what? I want to see Team USA. What's $5 to watch a collection of the world's best basketball players lose to other basketball players? I got $5. Let's roll the dice. Let's see it happen.
Take my money.
But yeah, take my $5. But yeah, while exploring the rest of Hulu's or not Hulu, Peacock's catalog, one of their original shows is a new sitcom based on the old property Saved by the Bell, and I thought that it was going to be a kid, like a kid show or a preteen show like the original Saved by the Bell was, but this show very clearly would not be out of place on like prime time cable
Oh wow.
or network TV. Like there's a show called AP Bio that's also on NBC, and I almost feel like if that show didn't exist, Saved by the Bell could be on television
Oh
in
wow.
its same place because they kind of have like a very mature vibe and atmosphere and aesthetic to the joke writing while also paying its respects to the Saved by the Bell show that existed almost 25 years ago. It's crazy to
Yeah, I
think.
do remember them. We're
So
old,
yeah,
Sean. It's okay.
you can pass on Space Jam. Go watch some Saved by the Bell.
Cool. Not too crazy. Looking at the calendar, there's literally nothing else. Like there's,
Yeah,
I
nah,
mean,
yeah.
if you want to think
Next
about
big
Labor
holiday
Day,
is Labor Day.
Columbus Day, that's nothing for the restaurant. Halloween, I guess depending on what kind of restaurant you're in, we were never busy on Halloween. It was just
Yeah,
kind of
no. Yeah. Halloween was definitely not we were not a destination.
literally the only thing we're looking for right now is we're getting ready for Christmas. This is the final stretch per se. We're getting all our numbers buttoned up. We're getting ready for Christmas because in our restaurant that was literally the craziest week. Christmas. So looking at it right now, Christmas falls on a Saturday, my guy.
Oh boy.
So that entire weekend, you're smacked. Just you're messed up. And then what you call that? New Year's is also on a Saturday. So literally that from Christmas all the way to New Year's, that at least for this year, the restaurants are going to be so stupid. So just to let you know, just for an FYI for everybody else, brace yourself. It's going to get a little ridiculous. But hey, don't go crazy. Be safe. Like I mentioned, we are live every time that Sean and I do this. You can check them out at Twitter at MetroCardX. Any comments, anything, whatever, go to Gmail at AskChefSalty, and then you can check all our episodes and all our stuff at YouTube at Chef Salty Pork Podcast, or on any of your streaming devices if you just prefer on the audio. Nothing too crazy, but on the video, obviously you can see Sean and myself's beautiful faces, our humble abodes, and actual, faces and my scars. So you can't really, I'm trying to like put it up to the camera, but it's not focusing. But it went in there like a good inch or so. I took out the Band-Aid to show you today. So it's a show and tell today, Sean. Other than that though,
Peace out, internet.